Stream is started. Uh, okay, so finishing up the LB3 plus section today. I don't have too much time, and so Red and I are gonna try to zoom past things. So if I don't answer questions or run through your questions, yeah, I apologize. I am on a time crunch right now. So give me a quick second, actually. Uh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I was sharing my whole screen instead of the the file. So let's get started. We're gonna go over the Limit Break 3 Plus stuff for all the styles. Guaranteed that you assume that you have every single version of the unit. Some of the units on here I have already deleted since I deem that having Lb3 or not with red that it's not going to do anything, or they're very new, that's why they were removed. Otherwise they're on this list. The only other group that's on this list that probably won't get much higher is just because um, they are new. So I think it's good to talk about like what they do a little bit before the yeah, in general. We just gotta want to go over some new of the newer units. So we could get started. The usual of Diva -2 SP during her Diva mode. Very well known now in EN, obviously, but um, does it make her stronger? I personally think it does. That's why she's right here. We're gonna increase her up by one. I think one's enough. I don't think she goes really higher than 7. I
Okay.
think she's just top of 7. You think so? Like I don't
Yeah.
think you can go. I don't think you can argue much higher than this. So
No, I think that's a fine place for her.
yeah. Um, we're gonna go. Let's see to Isuzu here. So Isuzu's new unit. If you don't know, Isuzu. One of the newer units came out like what 5 months ago, something like that.
Might have been
But
six
her
or
L
seven at this point.
Oh, maybe I don't remember. But we didn't have her on the last tier list. So, main thing is that she needs tokens to use her skills. And so her LB3, she will actually start if she's in the front line. At the start of battle, you gain 5 tokens. This is actually important because she can start using her EX skill, which has zero cost. I mean, not cost, but like zero usage limit. And you just spam this out. You get morale, you get tokens, and you get 5 hits. So it's essentially, in a way, uh, somewhat free as a first use because you get 5 tokens at the beginning. You also get uh, a token up every turn. So let's start with 6 tokens, right? Use this, you hit them, the enemy, you're gonna get 3 tokens back, and so the next turn you should also still have like 5 tokens or 6 tokens because if every time you hit an enemy you get a token. So you can start ramping her up rather than having to wait a little bit to get there. And I think that's a big deal when you are getting 5 hits instead of 3 hits, and you're getting tokens for your party. If they need tokens, you can start racking it pretty fast, as well as morale, being the main thing that like stacking up quickly is really good for. Um, so, in my opinion, I think that would actually bump her up as well. Just because if you're able to rack up this from turn 1 rather than having to wait until like turn 3 or turn 4, I think that's a huge deal, in my opinion. So, due to that, I'm going to raise her up 1. I don't think it really buffs her to be like so much stronger than around here at the top of 6, but I think it's something to to know that this helps her get to where she needs to faster. It gets the team where they need to faster. And I think that's a big deal in general. Um, yeah, Tama. Everyone knows Tama's by now, hopefully on EN, but it's plus 5 SP. That one also allows her to do extra things and also faster. So, I mean, it gets her one rank higher, but she's overall not using JP anymore. So this is just kind of just the what did I say before? What she was, Red? The I forgot the word for it. The benchmark. That's what it was. The benchmark. Minori 2. One of the rare ones that like would actually get something from their LB, but nothing super great. You basically just get every turn if you're in the front 5% OD. Um, it doesn't seem very important, especially with other kits having something similar and not being that useful. But for her, it is just because she does spend OD for her skill usages and stuff like that. So I actually deem her to go up one here. But honestly, you'll never run her because there are better methods of getting crit damage and crit rate nowadays. So, but still viable if you have to use her. Um, yeah, I'm just zooming past this. Anything you wanted to add, Red?
Nope, you're good.
Cool beans. Tsukasa 5. One of the ones that like is arguably better at LB3, and only if you have the team for her. So what she does is that if an ally uses a skill, an active skill, and the skill itself on the skill says that it will recover a party member um, their SP, and the target would be her, even if this also counts if it's for the whole team, by the way. Um, then plus 2 SP to the whole team. Um, Now, there aren't many units that provide SP to their team or to their ally, but there are important ice units that now do. So, one small example would be the new admiral for ice. She provides SP to the front line, and that it could be Casa. So she's actually actively giving um, plus 3 SP to the front line and plus 2 SP to the whole team, including herself in this aspect. It's going to be a lot of SP and a lot more easier to use her actual kit, which is a problem that she has is she runs into a lot of SP issues, as well as potential of killing the enemy instead of your main damage dealer and the DR rate not being so high. She has a bunch of weird issues like that. Um, but Casa allows at least one of the issues to not be as big of a problem, which is the SP issue. So though it's not, it's mostly about team synergy to make it better. I personally think it's enough to bump her up half a step, but it could arguably be the make or break on your ice team. Sorry, I have the hiccups if you guys are wondering why I'm like half stuttering sometimes. Um, but yeah, I think it's a half step, but it could be arguably a full step up. Do you think it's a full step up because it like
I've
really
played
helps
with her and
teams?
Ice Team a lot.
But
It feels like it's the thing that makes the team work effectively a lot of the time.
do you
It's
think
it's
it's a
it speeds up your strategy by so much. And it helps that Ice just has a handful of units that are already quite good that can donate SP to her. Being
yeah?
Ruka, of course. Waki has some good SP donate. She can give 3 to
Yep.
the front line, and then Tsukasa just gives
And
another
then
2 to the front
yeah,
line.
Megu
And
can
then, of
also
course,
give
Megumi,
to an
yeah,
ally. So there's a
for
bunch of
free.
different methods to give her SP, and a good chunk of them are meta as well, which is why like at least half a step. I could bump her up a full step. I wouldn't argue against that just because she kind of makes the ice team work with the donations. Let's just put her up to. We'll just put her up to
It
a
is
full
hard to
step up.
underestimate how useful it is. It will feel
Yeah,
amazing to use every game.
Um, Yotsuha is just 25% enhance, She's still here because this is actually enough to bump her up one, but not enough to do anything more than that. Not one, but half a step. Um, I put Adele here because it's good to see Yotza and Adele against each other. Adele's, if you don't know, is over here. Um, oh, not this one. Oops, wrong one. All it does is increase her DR rate by 30%. This may sound kind of small and not super significant, but the fact that her DR rate is actually pretty low, it's kind of a huge deal. It could make or break your strategy depending on like how often you need to pop this off, and how many times you can actually pop it off. So it is it is maybe make or break, while Yotsuha's definitely, um, you can feel the difference. Adele is, there is some cases where you will really feel the difference, and some cases where you just won't feel the difference at all. And that's kind of a thing. Um, but when it is important, it is important. If you're not running Mia 4, for instance, on your current fire team in JP, and running Adele instead, Adele 3, Adele LB3, I think is a much bigger deal because you are not having the same amount of blasting. Otherwise, Mia just having the ability to build DR really fast. She increases everyone's ability to increase DR by 10%. Things like that, is it makes Adele's LB3 a big deal. If you're not running Mia, I think it deserves half a step, just like Yotsuha's does, just because most likely, if you are running her, you are not running Mia 4. Because Mia's 4 main aspect is her minor heal to the front line and the amount of blasting she does with the amount of DR. I mean, OD she's building, and Adele builds a same amount of OD as well as this thing hits for 6 hits. So, yeah, just my personal opinion, even though it seems like a measly 30% DR rate, I think it's a very important skill, at least for this Adele, to do her job for why you're bringing her. So I think it deserves half a step. Uh, would you disagree
No, I
on that
agree.
aspect?
It
Yeah.
doesn't usually make a difference, but for her it does.
Chie 3. That one is if during extra turn, you have increase enhance. Um, I think that is mostly a very big bonus for her, that she really needs to boost up her enhances, especially because as a buffer, she doesn't actually get, since it deals damage, it doesn't actually gain more potency while you have skill levels. So this 30% instead of being 25%, whatever, is really helpful for her, especially in JP where um, Field is, I mean, well, actually EN as well now. Field is dead, and so Tsukasa and Chia's main difference between the two are not too significant, comparatively, if Chia is LB3, in terms of buff potency. Now, you can argue which one's better for a team. Chia building OD, and for Tsukasa, it would be the fact that she can allow SP to run freely through your team. So depends which one you want. But I think effectively Casa is much easier to use in most situations. Not all, but most. Shiki's is 25% enhance. So if you didn't know, Shiki did get buffed a little bit, but this did not change. Just her buff is 25% increase, and she already had really high numbers as when you level up the skill, it will level up the enhances, and she has that for both enhances. So very strong amount of buffing. The problem is it consumes a lot of SP and a lot of turns to pull off what she needs to do, but is it enough to warrant her to bump up a stage? I think it does, but it is still much better to run other light units. But you can't really count her out completely. Just I wouldn't personally use her. Um, it might be too much to say that she got bumped up, but I think it's worth bumping her up. Um, Adele, new Adele. So new Adele is a wonky one. But the main thing about her we're going to talk about is Lb3 because that's what this list is for. Um, this, as you can see, it applies at the battle start plus 2 SP to anyone in your party that has a dark element. Now, if you're running her with Waki, Waki gets plus 2 SP off of this, which is really nice for Waki to just be able to do a lot of different things with her SP. Adele also giving this to herself, very nice indeed, as she consumes quite a big sum of SP. Um, is that plus 2 SP enough to bump her up? I think it is, mostly just due to the fact that you will be running her in a dark team. Even if you're running her in a Waki team, it's mostly going to be a dark team. It'll and then later in the future when a Dark Admiral comes out, I think it's going to be very reasonable of how like much utility that's going to bring if she can give plus 2 SP from the very start for all other dark units on your team. So if you're running all 6 dark, it's plus 2 SP across the board. I think that's nothing to scoff at. Um, but yeah, you still won't really see her beat you still, just because there are better options out there at the moment for dark. Did I miss anything? Red?
Don't think so.
Cool. We're just running through all of these pretty fast. Mia SS2, if you don't know, it's just 25% increased potency for her defense down. Since you are double defense down anyways, and then you have perma defense down, you have SS1, and you can also bring an orb for more defense down. This becomes like a big snowball effect of how much um, potency out you can get of your defense down power. So I think it warrants her up a slot, um, just because of how strong that is. And if you didn't know, Mari and Isuzu basically have the same ones. So those two also will get bumped up half a step for similar reasons. Um, their debuff potency going up is a huge deal, especially in the current um, like meta of JP. This has a lot to do with border. So if you don't know, in JP we have 750 border. If you go from LB2 to LB3, you're still not going to be able to hit border if you don't have a
That down.
debuffer that decreases
Yeah.
stats. So the increase of LB increasing the potency of your debuff is a huge deal, due to the fact that it kind of like what's the word for it, Red? Like it increases your potency without you having to like increase your stats. Not superficially. I don't know what the
It
word is, but
compensates for stats.
it basically it's like fake stats in a way where you increase your potency without having to need the stats, which is a huge deal in my opinion.
And you also get the stats from LP3 anyway. So
Well,
double win.
yes, but double win. Overriders. I put all of them here. It's not like all of them are gonna move. I just wanted to go over each of them just so everyone can kind of get the idea. But overall, Ichigo's is the most important. If you do not have this LB3 passive, she's a little bit more clunkier and much more like harder to work with and be like, yeah, she's really good. Granted, on here I did put her at the top. It is still very hard to feel her power at LP1 or 2. At 3, you really feel it, and that's a lot to do with how this skill will deplete your OD, and being negative OD is really hard to compensate for. And this just makes it so the first cast of her common skill that gives everyone in the front line, including herself, plus 6 SP, essentially free. It's not like actually free because technically
It takes turns, yeah.
you did lose out on a turn. You did that means you lost on 7.5% OD from auto attack. But hey, it is a big deal. This just compensates for the first time you do it. Um, Oh, non-VC. Uh, I'm pretty sure we can be heard. If you can't hear us, let us know. I'm pretty sure we can be heard, but yeah. Um, so Ichiko would definitely get a bump up due to this allowing her to actually snowball. In fact, you can argue that she gets bumped up to here. Um, I think we can bump her up. I think I'll bump her up to here, where it's not like truly a whole leg up, but it is basically a leg up like this. Is that weird? Even then, like I'm probably gonna make this into just one, so she'll end up right here, I guess. Anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
this is fine. So it's a whole leg up. It's a huge deal on how she's played, in my opinion, and definitely opens doors to how well she can work. Nikaido is the other one that is very good. So her Lb3 passive is when during start in overdrive, her SP costs are get lowered by 2. This is yes and no now, just because with Fire Admiral, you automatically get -1. So this is literally just a -1 skill rather than a -2 skill nowadays. Um, but still applies. Less SP or usage is needed for like most of these skills that are going to be spammed. So this is going to be used twice. This is going to be used twice during your time. So you really want their SPs to be decreased on how much you need to use them. Um, Easily, I would slot her up by 1 just because that in itself allows her to actually do her job properly of doing all the defense downs that she needs to do. So sometimes this may not be required, but there are times where you will really feel it. I've had her Lb3 for a long time, and there are many times where she came out scathing with like 0 SP left. So to me, I think it's a big deal. Um, Not big enough for a whole jump, but big enough for like a half jump. Hisame, other one I'll talk about because she has the same exact passive. In her case, it's less of a thing. But hers is only during extra turn, so you don't need to be an OD to pop it off. But that also means that you need to get into an extra turn to do it. The only way you can do that would be Ruka Diva, not Diva, Ruka Admiral's common skill or her own common skill that provides extra additional turn. But that also means that this skill won't be um, decreased in SP cost. It's only going to be her ult, or you can do it during Ruka's extra turn, and this will be discounted, and then therefore this can be discounted as well. So you can make do with it. It's just, in my opinion, not as useful as Nikaido's -2 SP, but it is still potent per se. So I'm also going to give her a half step. Um, the other two, Shadow and Casa, their one doesn't really provide enough for to warrant them up. At least Shadow doesn't. I think you can technically warrant Casa to go up 1 because it does increase her buff potency, and you probably will be using her buff because you will usually do not bring a dark buffer. But at the same time, I also don't think that that once Dark Admiral comes out, that she'll be really using that skill anymore. So for now, I'm just gonna leave her as is and not have her get any increase. Is that too harsh on her?
No, I think that's fine.
Yeah, okay. So like, if you bring any dark buffer, for dark crit damage, unless it is Iroha, you will basically never use that buff skill, and she just increases her buff potency. So, yeah. Next, let's see. Debuffers, Aina. So Aina's relatively new, about a little over half a year ago. But what she does is, if the enemy is downed, 50% um, DR rate increase. That is huge. Already seeing that she's 28 DR, this becomes, I can't do math, but was it 40, 42?
Sure, that sounds right.
Yeah, 42 DR rate. Skill, which is absolutely insane, by the way. But yeah, it becomes 42 DR. Absolutely insane of a passive, making this go from 28 to 42. This basically allows her to not need hit count buff to worry about her DR buildup. Um, and for her, because her DR buildup is already really high, it effectively showing that you only have to use this twice on the enemy rather than just one. Like, from my usage, by the way, if you don't have hit count up, and if you don't have um, a resonance skill for her to increase her DR, which there is, I don't think there isn't one. No, there is one. I think Iroha 3 has that. Yeah, yeah. Um, you actually will not max out DR if you even if you use this skill twice. You're effectively having to use this skill 3 times on said boss to get that to play out. Now, if you have hit count buffs and stuff like that on her, she can easily max out with um, large funnel. Uh, Easily max it out at LB1. However, I think the ability for her to not need to do that is a huge deal for her kit as well. If you have the opportunity to not do that, because it's just saving up one turn of skill usage that you can use something else, like you can use her EX1 for instance, which will build a lot more OD than her um, EX4. So I personally think that bumps her up because it saves up a whole entire like turn slot up to here. I think it might be crazy, but like it is a huge deal in my opinion. Um, to the point that I think she deserves to be up here. Is that too much to push for, Red?
Nope, that's fine.
Okay, okay, cool.
And that's a pretty
I
cool
like.
unit.
Yeah, I mean, do you have her? Just wondering.
Yeah, I got her and didn't really think much of it at first, but the more I used her, the more I realized she really is just the poster child of support unit who kills the boss before you can nuke it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Her damage is just too high as well, so you really don't want to use this skill too often. Which is why this, I think, is a huge deal, because it allows you to not have to use this more than twice.
yeah.
And
If you watch a fight
honestly,
where she's used him, and you don't know a lot about HBR, she'll look like the best unit in the game, just because of how
it,
many things she does.
yeah, she is really strong. And like it's to the point that yes, it is as scary as Nanami SS2 without SS1. Like at LB1, like it is that strong. And with them together, it's even stronger. It's even crazier. But yeah, Megu 6. She actually, in my opinion, is one of the more lame LB passives. She just has for this one is 25% defense down. Power ups, basically the same thing as Mia. Like, this is basically what 2023. This is basically 2023, 2024
Basically.
like passive. It's pretty lame in my opinion. However, her LB4, we're just going to talk about, is interesting. Uh, you don't ever need this really. The only way for this to proc is if you can make her passive with Tama proc. And the only way to proc that is if someone breaks on your team, the following turn. So not the turn that you break, but the following turn, Tama will proc. will revive all allies who are broken and provide 50% DP to everyone, um, flat. Um, and this will also trigger, meaning that everyone will also get 5 SP when this happens. Um, Now remember, this is not an active skill, so Casa 5 will not work off of this. But this skill is interesting in itself. I've never thought that this skill was ever needed for anything. It may be enough to bump her up slightly with this, but this is kind of not enough to feel like you can warrant a bump up. Now that is for me and my account. Maybe for a less spending account and less LBs on your account, this can be very important, especially on an ice team. But if you are running a Thunder team, it is less important as a lot of Thunder does not need SP, especially the meta Thunder. Now, if you're running non-meta Thunder, like a little off meta, like it could be different either way. Um, I think it's hard to put some words onto it, so I'm just gonna put her half a step rather than a full step. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it warrants enough to feel like it's a huge step up um, to have her. Um, Now you may think, oh, you're putting Megu with the Overriders. Aren't isn't she stronger than the Overriders? The answer is that she doesn't overwrite, right? She just increases potency of um, the weakness. So it's hard to put them on the same boat. I think the ability to make sure that the boss is weak to something really promotes the overriders more than like a lot of other things should. So maybe I'm just overreaching with overriders, but I don't think I am. Yeah, I think that's fair. Thomas 6. So Thomas 6 is weird. Remember when we read this and we were so confused on how it worked?
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now.
It makes a lot more sense now. But
Mostly things you just
basically,
don't need to think about it.
yeah. Basically, if you need 4 more ice styles, and at the beginning of the first turn, um, you get the talisman debuffed +2. Now, here's the weird part: is this will be in effect. However, if the enemy moves and does anything that first turn, this passive doesn't mean anything. So you effectively need to break the boss on turn 1 for this passive to matter. So I'm not a big fan of this. Some whales and leviathans may tell you that this should bump up Tama to here. I just don't see that. Um, yeah, I really don't. Um, like it's hard for me to argue that she it does increase her her ability to do what she needs to do. How do you feel about her Lb3 passive? Not that like you have it, but how do you feel about her?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem especially effective.
Yeah, I don't think it's very effective. So like I'm deleting it. I wanted to put her out there because I just wanted to show you guys like what it is, and she's new, so it's best to just talk about it. Um, Miko. So this skill is right now really good. Um, it might be less good later due to Light Admiral coming out, but essentially it's the same thing. -2 SP during extra turn. She can easily make extra turns with this skill, as it just provides her extra turn. And when Light Admiral comes out, there is a high chance, because we see a lot of copy paste from WFS, that she well, I mean, the new Light Admiral will may likely give additional turns. So, um, this is pretty good, but it's effectively going to be -1 SP, rather than -2. But is it still enough to bump her up one? I personally think it does. So I'm bumping her up one. SP reduction is always a big factor when it matters, but only when it matters. um, Aina 3, Lb3. So this skill is interesting. So here's the thing, guys. This Lb3 passive does not matter if you're running Yanagi. In fact, with Yanagi, her Lb3 passive will never happen. Um, she is actually better off as a debuffer without Yanagi 3. Because Yanagi 3 will increase debuff potency by 20% rather than 30%. Like, it's a sad reality. Um, but yeah, so it is hard for me to push her up here due to that, but I'm still going to leave her here on this chart right here because I want to have the flexibility to move her when the Dark Admiral comes by. It's just that plus 2 SP to 7 SP is 9, which means she cannot make use of the 30%. Um, this one uh, is half cost in Overdrive. The main issue is that with plus 2 SP, this becomes 8, and you could barely fit that in. So yeah, overall, it's good on EN for now because you don't have Yanagi. But once you have Yanagi, it's hard to warrant that. But yes, I am keeping her here even though she technically does not move. But you know, I think it's good in that aspect. Um, Still, but I'm gonna reflect it here kind of weirdly. Um, Aina 3. We got from Aina 2 to Aina 3. It's just plus 2, minus 2 during overdrive. Still really good because, you know, minus 1 even if we have fire admirals. Always a good thing. Half step up. Mia 3. Sorry, I'm like zooming so fast, Red, that like yeah, you don't have time to
Agree. Arrow buff at
get
the
some
start of the fight.
add things. But yeah,
Not
it's just
really
arrow
relevant.
buff. For just one time. It's not very relevant. Mega's one's even less relevant, so that's why she was deleted from here. I don't think it really elevates Mia. I'm just gonna remove her from the list, personally. Aoi 5. This one's a weird one. Do you even know what this one is? I'm just wondering. Hey, I'm gonna
Five. Let's
I'm gonna
see.
keep it hidden. I know you can read this, so I'm gonna keep it hidden.
So Dark Owie. Let's see. Yeah, no clue.
Okay. If I remember correctly, it is every time that she uses her common skill, she will give her morale, 2 morale.
Okay, I believe you.
So right here, provides morale. Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. Whenever she uses her morale skill, right, has to be that skill. Um, she will gain 2 morale. Now, you may think that this is weird and this doesn't seem very strong, especially due to the fact that you should try to max morale with her anyways. When your damage dealer needs the morale and your debuffers and well, I mean she is your debuffer, but you get the picture, right? Um, Here's the deal. Her EX requires her to worry about how much morale she has. So if you can decrease that amount by even one cast of this, I think it's a huge deal. Uh, what do you agree with this notion that I'm like saying,
I
Red?
I have no idea what she does.
Oh, you don't. Okay.
People
She
people use her in
provides
battle.
in people used her not right now just because of there's no Dark Admiral, but she was used on SSS 3 due to being good with Waki, right? Because you just pop this and it can get all the defense down you need and provided a field, and it won't kill because it's just a one hit AoE and it has really poor potency. Um, and this thing still says 16 cost. At 10, it costs half, so um, it would cost 8, and then Waki can go straight afterwards and blow up the enemy, and you like, yeah, you have like 4 debuffs. You throw 4 debuffs all on one turn. Although it's AOE scaling, so yeah, very good overall. The only problem is that it takes time to get there because you need 10 morale, and her starting morale is 0, which means you have to cast this 5 times. If you have this, you only have to cast this 3 times rather than 5. So you save 3 casts of this. Granted, you can argue that you may want to actually max this one out. You can also argue that your main damage dealer should have a morale resonance, so it doesn't matter. So overall, I think this is a very good LB. Are you doing some mental math in your head, Red?
No, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, so it lowering the cast by 2, I think, is a huge deal. Uh, I don't think it's gonna enough to like bump her up to where Aina 3 is, but I think we can't sleep on her. Um, is she really really good and fantastic? Personally, from my opinion, no. I don't actually think she is. I don't think so, but I think she can be a sleeper pick, especially once the Dark Admiral comes in. That means this becomes 5 SP rather than 6, and I think that's a huge deal because currently in a actual setting with Yanagi, this costs 8, and if this costs 8 and you can lower how many times you're gonna cast this, I think this is a huge deal. By reducing the cost by 2, because instead of 12 SP, it's 16 SP that you have to dish out to max out her tokens, not tokens, morale. But in this case, you can just it's a lot less suffering in that end, I think. Yeah. So I think she's semi sleeper pick. Um, I think the interesting thing that we you will have to think about when you do use dark in the future without us knowing the future dark units is um, it's hard to figure out where Fragile's gonna come from if not from Yuki. So if you're running Yuki, we know where Fragile's coming from. You run Yuki plus Aoi and you have all the debuffs you'll need outside of permanent defense down, I guess. But yeah, she also comes with 25% increased defense down, and she's SSR. You can throw in Nina onto her, Nina 3, to increase her potency for defense downs even more. So I think she's an overall good unit. Just Dark is not in a good place. Megu. Megu is just 25% more defense down. It's just enough to bump her up half a step. It's not anything crazy. It's not going to make her like super meta. In fact, Thunder is so strong that her kit just looks really weak. So, yeah. Still doesn't make the mark of holding her weight, but she is still very good. Maki 2, one of the more interesting ones to add onto this list, even though like no one will ever use her, as Red and I were talking about. Um, yeah, I think people have only used her for EX mode. Yeah.
And maybe for resonance passive.
Well, I mean, actively used her.
Yeah.
Main thing is LB3. She will increase her SP by 8 if she breaks the enemy. This is a big deal for being able to break the enemy and then have SP to do anything else she needs to do. Not a huge deal. to be honest. But plus 8 SP is nothing crazy. I mean, not crazy, but it is pretty crazy. But it's not enough to like do a full step up. I'm just gonna give her a half step up. But yeah, she's still pretty to use. Miko's just 25% defense down potency, so just giving her a half step because of that. Woo! We are zooming through this list.
All right, what's next?
What's next? Defenders. Do you want to rate our defenders?
All
Do
right,
you have a
all
set of
two of
threes? Set of fours? All four. Man, I'm in a four. All three of the ones that we should probably rate up. Seda 4. Do you remember her LB3 passive?
No, I usually keep her at LB 0 or 1 because she doesn't actually need it.
Yeah, she doesn't need it, but she whenever she gets SP from active skill, it's +2, just like Kasa
Oh
5.
yeah,
So, um, yeah,
that's
as
quite
you
nice.
know, she combos really well with Tenet, right?
Oh, and Waki too.
uh, yeah, and Waki as well. So, um, yeah, half step, nothing crazy. Um, it's not as crazy as Kasa getting a whole step up. I think she just gets a half step up in this case. Really does the job. Mua 3. Do you know what hers is?
She gives people SP on overdrive.
Yep, +5 SP every time you pop overdrive. So it doesn't matter which overdrive you pop, one, two, or three doesn't matter. It's +5 SP. So you can just hit OD1, pop it, +5 SP, pop OD, and so
Cody one, yeah.
OD1 is basically +10 SP. OD2 is effectively 17 SP, and OD3 is effectively 25 SP. Pretty massive,
Yeah,
at least for in
it's pretty
general,
good.
if you think about it. And she's a crazy OD generator at the same time. Um, I have never played with it because I don't have LV3 Mua, and I also have never considered playing with it because, I mean, even with Mua 3, because I have other toys. But theoretically, and seeing people run only Oshima teams, I actually think it bumps her up half a step because +5 SP is still +5 SP at the end of the day. There's a lot of things you can work off of with +5 SP. It's like a third of an EX skill. That's pretty good. Chidoru 3. Chidoru 3 is +1 SP to Thunder units as long as charge exists on Chidoru. Um, if you're running Chirodu with Yanagi, you're gonna get that passive immediately on turn one, which is really good. However, without Yanagi, which you won't be running anymore, you'll be running with Nanami. You will not start with charge. So turn one, you don't get effectively her bonus, but any skill, I mean, anytime after that, you will. Um, how important is this? I personally think it's good. Um, I think that before when it she was ran with Yanagi, this was really good and made her very strong. But with Nanami and her having to spend, I think it's like 5 SP. Is it? How much SP is it? Is 6 SP? Do you remember how much her EX1 costs?
This one is 7.
17 minus, I mean half cost, so uh yeah, it should be 6. Um, spending 6 SP, she can give the front line +3 SP every time. Because every time she uses her EX, she gets charge. Um, is this enough
Get it on
to
board.
really rate her up? I think so, but overall, yeah, you won't be using Chiroru, unfortunately. Yep, all three defenders done. Now we go for healers. There's only two. Do you know Nisa's LB3 passive?
Is it another SP one?
Yep, it is. It's a different SP. It just gives SP, I think. I always mix and match her LB3 and LB0 passive, the OD for EX or SP, but it's SP. Um, so now if she uses for EX, she will also give +2 SP to the whole entire team. Granted, this is not an active skill, so nothing of those passives that proc when it's active will do anything here. Um, is this enough to warrant her to place up? I personally think yes. Just because +2 SP is +2 SP, and it's also effectively to herself as well, if I'm mistaken. Yeah. So this basically effectively cost 9 SP, but you had to use. Sorry, effectively cost 7 SP, even though it says 9 SP cost. So yeah, overall, spectacular unit at LB3, but debuffers are basically dead. I mean, not debuffers. Healers are basically dead in current JP. Cough cough. AOE 6.
Also ignore that there's a double healer banner literally right now in JP.
I
We
know.
don't talk about that.
I mean, they're both SSs. We don't talk about that. You know how much I laughed? Knowing that they were both SSs and they both got the treatment that if you got them at LV1. You know how much I was laughing at that, Red?
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. I mean, granted, I am glad that they still have that, showing that it doesn't matter if they're SS or SR. I mean SSR. It means that they will grant anyone who is debuting that treatment. I think was a good decision by them because they could have gotten backlash that they didn't continue that for SSs.
Yeah,
Just
I
two
wasn't
cents.
expecting it, but it is a
Yeah,
really nice bonus.
I expected them to only do it for SSRs. By the way, personally, I wouldn't actually have been upset if they didn't do it. You know?
Yeah, since SSR shards are a lot more valuable than SS shards, which you can kind of just throw away these days.
Yep.
Or
I
throw out willy-nilly, however you want.
yeah.
It's kind of like
But
tradition to
yeah,
just pull a new unit who's SS and then just instantly put 10 shards in them to get them to LB1 because that's how you use units. And now you don't have
yep.
to.
Now you don't have to, and I think that's a good change. Regardless, even if like
That's significant.
even though most of us are not going to fall in that banner. Anyways, GA4. Her LV3 passive is whenever she EXs, uh, she will get she will give everyone morale, right? So EX skill morale. This also includes, of course, her EX1, which costs 10 slash 5 on first cast. I mean, not first cast. I mean, on DP being over 100%. So which will basically never happen outside of turn one, um, unless of course it's right after you use this skill, heal back to full, and then oh my god, all of a sudden the enemy never attacked you. That also probably not gonna happen. But yeah, very good skill. And very good limit break passive. Sadly, for a unit that's not very good, right? There's another one that also gives morale on EX cast, but honestly, it's just not as good. It's but yeah. Chia's thing is it's 5 tokens to cast this, or 5 to 10 SP for this skill, um, and you can get 2 morale for your whole team. She provides basically nothing else. She's just a heal, a little bit of OD because it's 10 hits, um, and gives battery of +3 SP. This also gives +3 SP to the whole team. So if you have a unit that says, "Hey, active skills +2 SP, give everyone more SP," yeah, she's really good for that. To be fair, not that you'll run her with them, but like she can proc that really really fast, really easily. So um, enough to pop her one. I think it's a whole entire up one, but like you'll never see her be used. It's one of those situations, right? Like she is punched up by one, but you'll like just will never use her. She's not good enough to use her effectively. Um, is that fair for me to say? Like that she
Yeah,
is
it's fair.
to here? Like I wouldn't get mad if someone used her if she's LB3. To be honest, I think it's fair. The utility supports, the place where everyone exists. Because we have no real names for them. Lb3. Oh yeah, Byakko Lb3 doesn't matter. We can just remove her there. I forgot that she was there. Um, so Karen 6. We're gonna go with her Lb4 because her Lb3 and 4 are different. If you don't know Karen 6, you're either new or living under a rock. Um, and so she is kind of one of the main reasons why people are like, wow, she's the reason why elemental admirals are the way they are now. I kind of agree. Her main shtick is that her for LBs is that if you are running, you can form change by the way, which changes her limit break passives. So as you can see here, when she is Karerin, right? She'll give +1 SP to everyone, except for herself, right? Every turn. Um, she'll give herself +1 SP if she's in the front. She'll give 25% enhance, right? To party at LB3, regardless of where she stands. And she will provide +10% OD at LB4, right? Um, yeah, it's a 10% amount. So like, and this is if she's anywhere. It doesn't matter where she is. So you can start off the turn one at 10% OD, like it's nothing. If you form change her, she actually you will lose out on the party SP, the party enhance, and the overdrive per turn. And instead, what you'll be able to do is ignore elemental shields. So if you're already at chapter 5.2, you do know what elemental shields are. Every time you hit the enemy, it will, with the correct element, which is the enemy is naturally weak to, it will decrease their elemental shield. That's all this does. Um, so as a pure crit unit, she is the only one who can reduce E shield, any E shield, should I say? In fact, she's the only one. Is she the only one who can?
I think so.
I, th- I
Aside
think
from
so.
like element bracelet and normal attacks.
Yeah, outside of that, yeah. Um. Anyways, she still has +1 SP recovery. Rem did not put a different picture for that because he said that it's coded as the same, so that's why. Um, he also just left it that the way. But the main thing is that LB3, she'll get when she breaks the enemy, um, the overdrive gauge will increase by 25%. When you break with this Karen, you won't get that, right? So, yeah. And then she doesn't have an LB4 passive. So, this will actually be a very huge deal, especially because 25% OD is huge whenever she breaks. The enhance is kind of whatever from Karedin, but the 10% OD per turn is kind of huge. That's effectively, let's say if you even like turn one, you go and break the enemy, that's 35% OD on turn one, effectively. Not that like, not that I think it's very oftenly gonna happen, but I'm just saying that's a thing. The other thing that's huge about Karen is that she's very easy. She can easily break the enemy because of the DP mod as well as resonance. Will allow if you have 31x. I have the list here. I don't know if you know this, Red. I made this.
Yep,
Not this chart. Did you see it?
that's pretty nifty.
Yeah, so I made it just because if you go over here and you go to Rem's thing, like it's hard to tell what any of this is, right? Like
Hmm.
you can see what this is and you can see if it says ice or not, but if you look at this, you're like, okay, so for what element? And if you don't know that she is null, then you won't know.
No.
So I made a list for that right here, right? Over here, I'm gonna go to OD gauge. By the way, since you can scroll up and down, if you noticed, this stuff here is just copy pasted down here, so it's easier to see. OD gauge increases if you are cut in. You can attach one of these. Granted, it doesn't matter which one of these you can pick, whatever on EN alone, right? Um, Britica 2 is the only one who provides this right now. But in soon, Union and Irene are going to touch the scene, and you can also have them basically do the same thing. You really want at least one of them LB0 on your account with Karen. Not like it's you have to get it, but it's highly preferred. Irene 4 is the whale version of it, but as you can see, it's like if someone with an active skill provides you with SP, you'll increase the OD gauge by 5 to 10%, which is enormous. Absolutely enormous. Um, and so, yeah, that's basically all I'm accounting there for. Um, therefore, wait, where did my thing go? Did I just do it on this list the whole time? Oop, I did.
Oh.
I didn't realize I didn't do it on the other sheet. It's fine. This is the sheet I'm going to be changing anyways. Therefore, the difference between Karen 6 LB1 and LB 4 is pretty massive. It's effectively, if you want to think about it, like 50% OD gauge. And potentially, of course, the ability to break. So I personally would pump her up a whole entire step up. I think she deserves to be bottom of 9. She is really strong. Just remember that if you do run an elemental admiral, uh, she's kind of worthless. So they kind of cancel each other out. I think that's the best way to put it. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But yeah, at LB 3 plus 4 at LB 4 definitely takes this slot. Pretty solidly. Uh, Yuki. Isn't this funny? Because before we put Karen 6 over Ichiko, but just because the Elemental Admirals came out, I don't feel like I feel like Ichiko's way much more useful.
Yeah, and we don't even have the Light Admiral yet.
We haven't had the Light Admiral yet, but even if we do, I think she won't change. I think she just stays there.
Can't wait for Light to be meta
No, I hate light meta.
again.
I will not lie. I used to like light meta when light was like absolutely trash in JP. I was like, yeah, light meta is finally here, and then I feel like, okay, never mind. Light meta feels so boring. I hate it.
But you don't have
Anyways,
LB3 Chico, so maybe that would sway your
I
opinion.
no. I do now. I'm just saying that I
Okay.
didn't during that time. Okay. Um, Yuki, honestly, one of my favorites to use. But yeah, LB3 and 4. LB3 is just increasing her debuff duration by 1, so this 2 turn will turn 3 turn. Um, and at LB4, if anyone breaks the enemy, um, the front line will get plus 5 SP the following turn. Um, so this will proc basically at turn start, right? And it only happens one time per going into battle. Like it's not per battle, but like per whatever it's called, sortie, right? Um, Effectively, if you break the enemy at turn 2, you are getting this at turn 3. Um, I'm a big fan of Yuki and how good she is. As she also has 31 X members that can attach to her to just give a lot more OD when she breaks the enemy. But yeah, the plus 5 SP to the front line as well as the debuff duration. The debuff duration is a weird one where I have had very like I've liked this pretty often, but in current JP, I don't think you ever care about this one. Um, I think you kill the boss too fast.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much. Debuff to
because
is
like
a big
even
deal.
if you use this on turn 1, which you probably won't be able to, unless you know OD like you do the OD strat that gets you to OD2 on turn 1. There is a strat for that for fire right now. Yeah, you'll never use this on turn 1. Um, Granted, you will never feel the effects of this if you kill on turn 1 either. So if you're doing a turn 1 kill, Granted, she needs stats to do the break and everything. None of these are worth. However, if you go to the next turn, which is 95, 99% of cases, um, this passive will basically, you can pretend it doesn't exist most of the time. Um, that's less of a thing when Yanagi was the powerhouse though, and more of a thing. Like this skill I think was important during Yanagi. So if you're running Yanagi, this skill is much more important because it means that you can break the enemy and you can like make use of. I mean, you can not just break because you won't be breaking with her. You can run this skill, and it'd be easier to break the enemy with Kaden during that time. And you had 3 turns to do it. I think this is pretty good. I don't think it's required by any means. This 5 SP is huge and humongous in my opinion because it allows her to pop this 15 SP. If you break the enemy, you get another plus 5 SP. So it's if you have 20 SP, you can effectively like get all your SP back. I think it's no, even at 18 you can. So I think it's a big deal. Does it bump her up enough to be like matching Cotton like they would at LB1? I don't think so anymore. Maybe during Yanagi days I could argue for that, but I think just being slightly underneath her like this half step up, I think it's valid to say. Yeah,
Yeah, it's close
I think
at
it's valid.
least.
It's enough to bump her up. It's not enough for you to be like, wow, OP. Kanata 3, I only have on this list because she's new. All she does is, hey, if you have charge, um, then the party attack goes up. Like basically, if your ally has charge, their attack goes up by 50% enhance. It's mediocre. It's definitely better than a lot of damage dealers, LB3s, like old damage dealers having 25% enhance, because it's double of that, but it's not enough for you to be like, wow, this is so good. So she doesn't really change anything. You can have her LB1, you can have her LB3. You will barely feel a difference. It's like, at best, I don't know, like 5% more damage at best. It's basically nothing. Um, it's less than 5, but yeah, you get the picture. Aoi 6. If you don't know Aoi 6, then and the fact that she has a mark, all the new mark people, not Byaku 2, because Byaku 2 is not a new mark person, it's just newly applied to have mark, but a new unit that has mark, um, elemental mark, usually has the LB3 passive that your party will have plus 5 SP at the start of the first turn. That is, if every one of your element is of that element. I think that's huge. I think it's absolutely massive. It doesn't make or break ice, but it makes or breaks ice's potential of clearing on turn 1 or 2, comparatively to clearing 2 to 3. So most ice teams are probably clearing 2 to 4 turns. Um, have you tried ice since?
I love playing
Or
ice, yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
my best team at the moment.
You would agree, right? Like right now, most ice teams that do not have Aoi LB3 are hitting like turn 2 to 4 ish, depending on the
Yeah,
boss.
two to
About two to
three
four,
maybe.
right? But like, yeah, yeah. I think. I mean,
It
I'm
depends if you
pushing
have Tukasa
4, but
LB3 as well. Yeah.
yeah, it does. I think without cost LB3, I think you're hitting 4 turns, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but this skill alone, if everyone in your team is ice, will effectively allow you to, um, like your range from like 2 to 4 will become 1 to 3, and then of course if you have Casa LB3 becomes 1 or 2 turns, right? You can 1 or 2 turn things. Um, that potential of just being able to plus 5 SP and doing all this other stuff, um, I think is so huge. I think it actually just pushes her up to here, to the top of tier 8. I think she's that strong. Um, with that.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Um, Nope, you don't even need her SS1. You never use her SS1, dude. Like I'm talking like telling you, if you have the meta comp, you don't need it. Adam, you will never use it, like ever. She's just really strong. Um, but if you don't have meta comp, yeah, you definitely want her SS1, most definitely. Ichigo is new, so I left her in here, but hers is kind of lame. It's just whoever has motivation, their their what's called their motivation will increase how much party enhance. Three part. It's don't worry about it too hard. It's not useful. It's a maximum of 30% anyways of enhance, which is basically nothing. Lucky 5 as a support unit. Since she's new, I put it on here, but effectively it's nothing. Um, her Lb3 is just if an ally uses a skill it's 8 SP or less, that's plus 100% skill damage. Effectively not worth anything except for on Lucky herself. Um, Potentially can be an issue for Thunder teams who want to use her, because most Thunder teams are using her, because it will also enhance your Aina, who's going off using her EX skill, killing your boss in front of you, and you crying about that. It also increases the damage of Nanami as well if you want to use her for damage. So um, it slightly makes her worse in a sense if you don't want to break with. I mean, if you don't want to kill the boss with them. Yay! If you want to kill the boss with them, it makes it a lot better. Sure. Um, and then her LB4 passive is just 100% gauge if everyone's a Waki minion. This will never happen unless you're running Bungo as well. Um, during a run for um during a run where she's just a support. So yeah, I don't think it changes her position at all. I'm just gonna delete her from the list. Um, you kind of agree with that notion?
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, it's just effectively you don't get to use either of them, and if you do, a lot of the times it kind of hurts you rather than helps you. Mia 4 has the same passive as Aoi, plus 5 SP. So honestly, you just shove her up here. Uh, just really strong kit. It's funny because to the fire team, it's herself. She really provides just OD, DR, and uh, perma defense down, and that's about it really. But outside of the mark, but with the plus 5 SP, it's just a really big deal. Yeah, she just fits in for fire teams for now. Tezuka's LB3 and 4 passive. She doesn't have a 4 passive. She has LB3 passive only. But it's just plus 2 SP whenever she adds an extra turn. This is really just for her damage dealer form to use on her skill that eats up all of her SP. So, yeah, as a utility support, pretty much does nothing. So, I'm just going to remove her from there. As a utility, she won't do anything. Fubuki 2, her LB3 passive is plus 10% OD every time her SP is under 50%. Um, Pretty good. That means if you use her no common skill and she doesn't get hit in the following turn, you get plus 10 SP. Is this plus 10 or plus 5? Do you remember? I think it's plus 10.
Thanks, plus
Pretty
10.
sure it's plus 10. Yeah, plus 10. Um, I think it's pretty good. It's not enough to punch her up one, but and more than likely you will never need it or feel it, but it's something that you should know that exists. I don't think it changes where she's placed. I think you just we just leave her there.
All right.
You do think it matters?
No, I don't think it matters. You can leave her there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna leave her there. Koju is just providing more OD per turn as long as she's in the front. Also, doesn't really change her placement. But uh, like I think it makes her better, but I don't think it makes her better enough that I want to place her higher. Irene 3. I forgot what Irene's is. Why did I leave her on the list? Oh, right. Battle start plus 5 SP cost. I mean, not cost. I mean, SP to herself. This one's pretty good. It's nothing amazing, nothing crazy. Um, but what it does essentially is allows you to use a little bit more of your skills. So you could still run other skills. So let's say you want to buff with this skill, and then you want to hit with this skill for damage. It basically allows potential for that and other things. Is it very important? I don't think so. Um, but I've seen Rem pull stuff off with this before Yanagi came out. Um, so I'm just going to remove her as well. It doesn't seem like it's too important. Would you think it's important plus 5 SP to this kit? I don't think so. Am I crazy?
No.
Yeah, I'm not crazy,
It
right?
does let her like dip into doing different roles in one fight, sort of like the Sutama effect, but
Yeah, I don't think it's
it
enough for
kind of
her to
doesn't
be
matter
plus
either.
5. Yeah. Yuina. Yay. There's so many of them. Lb3 passive is just cost reduction during extra turn and plus 5 SP recovery when she does her first extra turn. I think this is a very powerful skill for this Yuina in particular. And as a support, it's even better because you're going to be running um, her blasting skill anyways. And that means on turn one you can use this skill and her blasting skill and get 10 hits worth of OD, AoE OD. I think that is pretty nifty, especially because you do need this as well to get both of that off. Um, yeah, just that's pretty much it. I think that kind of pushes her up to strong, and can hold her own. But effectively, you're probably not using her as a support. But yeah, it does the thing. Yui is just plus 2 SP to the front line whenever the battle starts. And so, yeah, it makes or breaks certain situations, but yeah, um, she does hold her weight when she is LB3. In JP, even you can probably like one turn, two turn Inori 2 stuff using her because she has that skill. Otherwise, it's probably a little bit rough, but yeah, it's possible because of that. Sumomore 4. Yeah, once we get done with utility, I'm gonna hit the restroom real quick and then we'll continue Red.
Sounds good.
But yeah, Sumomore 4 is that her EX cost, not EX cost, her EX usage will double every time. So her LB0 is only on the first time do you double EX. LB3 is she will do it every time. So this is effectively going to be a 14 SP skill that hits double of whatever it says here. Um, that's a lot of damage and very good. Um, Especially if she is on an ice team because she also recovers party SP by 3, and this becomes basically essentially 6. And if you're on Casa, it's 10 because it occurs twice. So it's a huge deal. It's a big helpful dose. Yes, she is kind of your main damage dealer, quote unquote, during that time, but like you also don't have to use her as that. There was a time where people did use her um, for before Aoi was came out when running her. People ran her as a support as well, so it is a thing. Is it as good as Aoi? No, but it does do what it needs to do. How much have you missed? You've missed most of it, but there is it is going to be saved, so it's not like you have to worry. You can look back. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm gonna push her up at least one notch. I'm not really. I'm not feeling putting her here. Essentially,
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
don't.
I wouldn't do it
I
either.
don't think she's strong enough for that. Irene. Irene is actually one of the biggies, in my opinion. Irene's thing is OD3 is own SP restored by ally active skill. 25% OD gauge. So remember how she can provide 5 or 15% if she's a resident skill. This is just flat 25 if she is the recipient and she's on your team. I think that's huge. Um, I think that's a huge deal. That this is a very strong LB3 passive. You probably have never seen her be used in JP, but there was effectively a time where she was technically best in slot before, um, for certain teams that don't have an easy method of gaining morale. She was a best in slot, especially with LB3 if you had teammates who would provide active skills. So, for instance, if you're running Fire or if you're running Thunder, you had Iroha providing. Iroha 2 providing SP to the whole team. Or, if you were running Yanagi, she just donates to Irene. And this Irene, excuse me, has a lot of usage on a lot of things where it could be, AoE defense down with some um, AoE DR, as well as, at the very end, providing morale to the front line. Um, so this is just very, very useful for her kit. And honestly, without the elemental admirals, I think she actually had a slot in the meta if she was LB3. One of the few ones that did that no one ever talked about. I think she was a hidden gem at LB3. Um, I don't know if you felt that about her, Red, but that's just something that I believed in personally.
Okay.
But yeah, I think LB3. I think she does hold her own. I think she actually does go up here just because 25% OD just for donating SP. I think is pretty big. Um, overall. Yeah, but you won't ever see her be used, and you probably will never use her because they're just better options. Bungo is just, as you saw, Bungo is Bungo. Um, the Boon God that hopefully you pulled for if you're EN and you are for your play. Essentially LB3, it increases the enemy's downturn by 1. Doesn't matter who breaks, but 99% of the time she's gonna be breaking until cut in 6 comes out. And overdrive gauge goes up by 100% if she is what's it called again? If she makes everyone a minion. So, or if everyone is a minion, should I say? On turn start. So effectively very good at OD generation, provides a little bit of damage increase of enhance. Not very good, but it's still a thing. Downturn is always utility, right? And so overall, she does a lot, but she's not as useful anymore as she used to be. Is this enough to warrant her a spot up? I think it does, but like you're not gonna use her for support and for very long, especially in EN. And JP, you basically will never see her support again. But yeah, there was a time where she was used as support a lot during OD days where OD was unlimited. Do you remember Red during what's it called again?
What was it?
For Arts Battle,
Yeah.
people running the infinite loop where Bungo can actually just like get to like 900 like the max score
Yeah,
and
it
all
was
the
pretty
nines.
exciting having
Yeah.
unlimited ultimate usage on a unit.
Did you know, actually funny enough, you know that there was a nerf to damage um like on one of the most recent patches. I think on the most recent patch. Do you know about it?
In EN or JP?
On JP. Do you
No
know about
idea.
it? So it's funny. Um the nerf that they did was how um so essentially this is just for arts battle. They made it so if your uh dex and strength are too low, like over 1,000 lower than the enemy, you will now no longer deal one damage, you will miss, and you will not build DR.
That's pretty
DR
funny.
or OD. It's a damage nerf from 1 to 0 if you're under 1,000 border.
That's
Is
amazing.
that insane?
That's crazy.
So that means there are people in Arts Battle who probably use Bungo and poke the enemy to death. If you think about it,
There must be.
there
Spending
has
tens
to
of
be.
thousands of turns, if not more. They're still
So
playing
they're
to this
just
day.
they're so I mean they can't because the game updated, right?
In the middle of their battle, yeah.
Yeah. So R.I.P. the Bungo strats for Arts Battle. But that was a thing apparently. That's why they nerfed it. Uh, Hisame 3, hers is just plus 3 SP at beginning of battle. I think it's enough to bump her up by 1 because you allows her to do her job, which is break the enemy, give SP to the whole team. Not a big deal, but at least it's something and it's useful. More useful than a fringe unit, so yep, there's that. DR people are really. There's only two, so I think I'll just get through these guys. Waki, one of your favorite units to use, Waki 4.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, not at LB3, but I do like to use her.
but was she had her at LB3? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So her LB3 passive is if the enemy is broken and um at 200 DR, right? If they get to
200%.
200 DR,
Or higher.
then plus 5 SP one time. You can only this only procs once, um, but you'll get this. Um, I don't know if this procs the following turn since it says every turn, or if it procs right when
One
you
time
hit
only.
200. Do you know? Do you know if it procs right when you hit 200% or if it procs the turn after you hit
Don't know.
200%? I'm gonna assume it's the turn of, but I'm not 100% on that. Did you like this? And is dead.
Just in case the enemy's already dead.
Just in case.
Just in case you've already
Uh,
won the fight and you still want the SP. You can't get it.
yeah, yeah. You still can get it. This is pretty good. Especially as support. I think it's pretty good. It also makes her as a damage dealer very good. For getting the one turn or two turn. So yeah, effectively, I think it does bump her up one stage, but nothing more than that. I think it's pretty good. Just kind of like how Yuki's has the one for break, and it's actually useful. I mean, it's on a useful character. And it's for the whole team. Koju 4 is one of the rare ones. Koju, Koju. Honestly, I'm a big Koju fan, even though like she doesn't make my top 5. I'm a big Koju fan. Lb3 passive is just if you defeat an enemy plus 2 SP to the whole team. Is this good? Good enough to warrant her a step up? The answer is no. I wanted to put her up here just because I'm gonna leave her right here. The thing is that if you are doing dungeon, if you are doing anything like that, this does warrant her a step up. In score attack, not at all. But in those other situations, it's pretty good. She does deal decent damage, as you can see. Her DR rate is not the highest in the world, but it's pretty good. Um, but yeah, I think she has a place in SSS, essentially. If you can use her in SSS, I think she has a place. This plus 2 SP is really good. It'll proc every time you defeat an enemy with your own attack. I have tested this, but I don't remember if it's per enemy that you defeat or if it's only per turn that you defeat an enemy. So I think it's per turn you defeat an enemy. I don't remember, but plus 2 SP is always nice to have for that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm just gonna leave her right here. I think she is a solid unit for damage dealing, especially in SSS. But Yeah, no, I've never seen her be used, but I think she has usage. Anyways, I'm gonna go use the restroom, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Come back.
Thank you. Let's see the chat. Got estimate when Tezuka will be out. In EN? No, not really. Um, if you want me to make a guess, which is gonna be uh 99% wrong, um, I will think around. I would not doubt that she will come this out this year. When this year? I think she'll come out probably uh at the rate we're going, probably on anniversary, second anniversary. Not gonna lie, I think they're trying to lock in. Yeah. So like by the first second anniversary, I think she'll be out. In fact, I am more convinced that she will be out after Megu is, if they're already at that point before the second anniversary. Because the second anniversary, they want to at least get something nice going, right? So I'm more convinced that Tezuka will be that because there's no AB4 for them to use for anniversary anymore. What do you think, Red? You agree?
Sure. It's hard to speculate about something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean I don't think you can speculate anything, but I think the main point is they don't have Angel Beats 4 anymore, so it's gonna be something. Um which is why I think it would make sense for Tezuka to be there, but uh like if you want my full honest opinion on like if
It'd
you
be the
don't care
Persona
about
collab, of
anniversary,
course. What else would it be?
um if you want my personal opinion without it anniversary being related, probably like end of July, August, something like that. Like I am under the idea, personal opinion. I have no information from Yostar whatsoever, but I think they're trying to keep Ian about 6 months behind JP. That's my guess. This just allows easier transition for Yostar, where they can make every half anniversary the anniversary banner for JP, and every anniversary the half anniversary for JP. You know what I mean? Like it's just easy to do that for calendar and make the game kind of feel hype for the anniversaries, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I'm no Yostar employee, and I'm no game dev. So what do I know? Anyways, moving forward, I did put the admirals, left them on this list. I will note one thing. Um, I don't really think any of them will move. You can, and I say can because it's true, argue that Aoi and Yanagi should go up one. Uh, you can argue for that due to their LB3 actually being somewhat useful. But I am not very much feeling that. If they were to be upped, I would up everyone one at in general because the elemental admirals so far it's like of element 30% crit damage. Um, that is better than an enhance is, but that's effectively about the same amount of increase as Yanagi 3's one, which is if they are using an SP, I mean, a skills whose SP cost is, was it 15, 14, 15 up? Yanagi is 15 up, right?
I think so.
Yanagi. It's been so long since I've used her. I say that, but it's been like half a year. They said, I mean, only 4 months. Yeah. So 15 or more SP. Then skill enhance is 100%. And Aoi is just plus one. I mean SP, yeah, plus one SP at battle start. If I were to increase them, everyone would go up half, and I think that's fair with how much damage increase they provide, which is actually a pretty decent amount. Aoi, of course, just being more utility than anything else. Um, like I want to bring him up one? Kaden being up here makes me want to bring them up one. Is that wrong for me to feel?
No,
Just
I think it's fine to do that.
just do this.
Yeah.
Just do this. Yeah, I just gotta do this. I think this makes sense. Um, in this case, I think at LB3, I like Yanagi's LB better than always. Oh my god, I sneezed. I don't know if you guys heard that, but sorry about that. The sneezes got to me. So, yep. Um, there we go. Yep, I think this is fair because I don't want to put Karen above Yanagi. I don't feel like that's fair. So, yep. We're now going to damage dealers. The place that like most likely you won't see anything happen. Um, I know in stream you can't really see what's over here, so I'm just gonna move to the right, I think. Yeah, there we go. Now you guys should be able to see it in the stream. Let me just check in the stream. If you guys can see that. Yes, you can. Cool. Um, we're gonna go for their thing. Ruka's LB3 passive isn't very crazy, uh, but essentially it's just more skill enhance. It's only 20%. But her LB4 gives her an extra turn if she pops this skill. It's somewhat useful, but not always useful. I will personally put that as like I don't think it would raise up how good she is as a unit. So I am like per se, but there are times when you want to be able to use that skill. So um yeah, I think that would raise her up one, but barely. Everyone that it wouldn't be raised has been deleted if they are not. Oh, I will note since I did not say this before. But I did lower Waki, Bungo, and Karen down half a tier because I realized when I did rate them before, they were more so rated on their abilities when kind of including LB3, but not really. I totally forgot that certain parts of the kit wasn't available. Um, so I apologize, but yeah, I fixed that. Fubuki is just 10% OD when she's under half. I already talked about that. I think as a damage dealer, that's a make or break. Allowing her to use that skill to set up for higher OD amounts, I think, is huge. Um, Kanade's, uh, actually, yeah, Kanade, it doesn't change very much, I think. It's just self DP recovery um per turn. Sure, in JP you're only getting like 2 or 3 turns or whatever, but I'm gonna note one extra thing about JP is sure she herself doesn't have a DP orb, but because we have higher levels and stuff like that, we coincidentally have more DP. And so I'm not fully convinced that this skill will provide you the 150% DP. And maybe there are cases where it does, but maybe there's also cases it doesn't. And in the case it doesn't, I think that passive is pretty big, especially because that means that this skill will proc on turn one, so you're already at 107 rather than 100. I think that will make sure that you get the maximum amount, which is a huge deal for her damage. So I think it actually bumps her up one, personally. Um, Carol. So, the new Carol. We're not gonna talk about her. All the new healer stuff thing is negligible. I'll add them later to the list. It doesn't matter. Her thing is just a is just 50%. I put her on here because I totally forgot that this was her LB0 and I thought this was her LB3. So I'm just gonna delete her off the list. Oops, my bad.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I totally forgot Red. It happens. Um, Maria 1 is 5 tokens at the start of battle. That greatly, like when I say greatly, I mean like greatly increases how well she does and performs. Um, to the point that I wouldn't feel weird putting her up here, but I'm just gonna put her here. But yeah, I think she definitely performs a lot better, especially if you're doing like low turn count kills, where it's this high. Maria 3. doing two Marias at the same time, I guess. Hers is that when she is at 150% DP, the whole party, including her, gets plus one SP. It's actually pretty huge. It's pretty big. The only main deal is that she has to use this skill here, which has very high potency and more likely than Kanade to reach the maximum DP within just one cast. The main thing is that you need to make sure the enemy cannot hit her when she does this. So if the enemy does AoE, this is a useless passive. If the enemy does single target, this can be useful, but it's kind of RNG. Overall, I think it is very useful and very helpful, um, especially if you're not killing on turn 2. So I'm just getting half step up because of that. It's pretty good, pretty hefty. Boon God, the god of the god of
Yeah,
dancing
no. Yeah.
on EN. Yeah. If you know, if we if you already forgotten, it's just the extra turn and gauge. The main important thing is this gauge here. Yeah, that basically puts her up to here in tier 8. You just dance twice, and voila, we're done. In fact, if you have Waki on your team, you can dance once and you're done too. Yes, glory to Boon God. I am a uh, Boon God enthusiast in JP. I mean in EN, but in JP, I'm basically just never gonna use her. But yeah, this is EN, so yep. Cut in 6 as a damage dealer, she does very well as well. If you have all the styles, she can actually be used for AoE. In fact, she's not that bad for AoE. So I'm gonna shove her up. I'm just gonna kind of show you what I mean by all that to kind of explain. So essentially, when you use this skill, which is what you're going to use to kill the enemy, right? You'll notice that it has 16k potency. Sure, the potency is much lower than Inori. Of course, if you compare her with Boon God, she has more potency than Boon God, but she is just 1x strength, 1 dex. You may think that's a huge issue. Funny enough, maybe Red doesn't even know this because I only learned this
Yeah,
recently.
go for it.
But her stat growth is insane. It's 70%, 60%, unlike the usual 70-40.
That's not something I knew. Yeah.
Yeah, I only learned about this recently. Someone pointed out um, to me, and I was like, oh shoot, I had no idea that Cotton had that. And I checked everyone else, and no one else has this. It's just her. So yeah, she is very weak defensively. As you can see, it's 50-50, and then her int and luck is incredibly low, but her strength and dex are really high. Um, so yeah, she does her job. She has all the stuff that we already talked about, but yeah, her potency is not the greatest, but it is at 16k, nearly 17k. So like if you compare her with Inori's damage, you will definitely lack the damage in terms of from raw damage just from Kaden alone. But just remember that if you're running Inori, you're probably running Kaden as well. Um, Kaden 6 is not that fragile, from my experience. I think a lot of the stats she lost is from her int and luck that she doesn't need. Anyways, the main deal is that like you will be running Kaden with your Inori anyways. But if you are running Kaden, she can technically be used for AoE content. What do I mean by that? What I really mean is if you have this Kaden here, right? Kaden swimsuit, so Kaden 4. If you do have this skill here, you can trigger your EX twice. This skill will allow you to use all cut-ins, even if they're single target, as AoE, um, if they can kill, right? So essentially, if you kill one target, you can trigger the EX again because the fight hasn't ended to kill the other target, effectively making this hit twice. When there are two targets, you kill one, then you kill the other. Granted, Inori damage is much higher. It's like what 18k mod with 50% HP mod. It's 18k pot right? Eight
Is it
Inori
30%
2.
damage? I
It's
know she's like an older
50%.
unit, right?
It's
Oh,
50%.
50%. Look at her.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, this only goes up to 18k, but it is 50% mod. Um, so yes, obviously Inori does 50 at least 50% more damage. Just note that Inori does take a slot. Um, and meanwhile, um, Karen takes 0 slots because she's already slotted in. There could be a time where Karen would be better for AoE, but who knows. But yeah, all Karens can be used for AoE as well. So technically, I can move her over here, but I'm not. Um, but yeah, so yeah, it's because she has a lot of potential, she gets moved up, quite up. Sumomo 3 basically comes with self funnel. The large funnel 3 time thing. It is a nice increase in damage. Definitely allows you to kill a lot of older events in one hit, one turn by herself. It shifts her up definitely at least one slot, but she doesn't really bring anything else to the table. In JP, it is effectively you need to break with someone else, who usually Karen, right? And then Sumomo can go for the kill afterwards. And so Karen actually helps Sumomo a lot because you don't really want to waste her Lb3 passive on breaking the enemy. Mari 4 is just plus 5 SP at the beginning of battle. Um, and so that one's pretty good as well, since it allows her to do what she needs to do faster. So just half step up. But yeah. Waki 4, we talked about her as a damage dealer. It definitely helps a lot. So up one slot at the very least. Yuki also has similar aspect of what she does. In fact, I think Waki's a better damage than Yuki, so I'm just gonna do this. Yeah, there we go. Nothing crazy like that. Sumomo 4, we already talked about her, so I'm not gonna go insane in depth. She isn't really strong in score attack, but in EX mode, she is very good at LB3. In fact, you can technically say she's one of the top ice damage units for that mode. Um, but like I'm gonna be reasonable and kind of just put her here. Uh, every other content, you're just not gonna use her. You're just not gonna see her. But her damage numbers aren't terrible if you're not trying to score high. You're just trying to get the kill, and you need to build DR and stuff. I think she's just a really good pick overall. Um, yeah, you could argue that she's better than Waki, but I think they're about the same. What do you think? Like Sumomo and Waki are like on EX mode are not too different, right?
Yeah, they're pretty similar.
Yeah, that's
No
what I'm
strong
thinking.
feelings either way.
Yeah. Diva, um, does get a half step up, but just remember that if you are running her, she feels bad because you are running Yanagi instead of Fire Admiral. She doesn't work with Fire Admiral. So Irene 2. The heck does Irene? Did I leave her there on accident? Oh yeah,
Probably.
just 30% crit damage. 30% crit damage is much better than enhanced stuff. So yeah, that's why. That makes sense. She has a half step up. Hisame is the 5 plus 5 SP. We already talked about that. I don't want to go over it, so I think we do this. There we go. So, yep. And then there's nothing below. And then we go to AoE. And we're be done. I have like 20 minutes before
All right, let's go.
I want to end the stream. I mean, I don't have 20 minutes until I have to leave. I just have 20 minutes before I have to end the stream. So, yeah, we'll just try to zoom through. Sorry, guys. I know it's not as in depth as usual, but you gotta get going. So, uh, Tezuka SS1 If you don't know what she does, she just basically gives plus 2 SP whenever she goes an extra turn. She provides herself extra turn using this skill whenever she is in her Oni mode. And so during Oni mode, she is plus one, she gives herself 2 extra turns at least. You could give herself 3 if you wanted to. So effectively, this is plus 4 or plus 6 SP. And it sounds weird when none of her skills will cost anything when she is in Oni mode. Um, like nothing costs SP, and the only thing it does is increases SP for this skill, which deals damage based off of her SP. So yeah, this is a huge deal. Ignore the crit damage and the crit rate that actually does not exist. That's just WFS being lazy, copy pasting from Nanami, and not actually cleaning up the skill. But it is actually in the data that it has this. It just never reads it according to REM. Just heads up. Um. Anyways, Tezuka for that, because her main damage comes from this, you need to have her LB3? The answer is no. But does it help a lot for her to be LB3 plus? Um, and the answer is yes. So, yeah, in my opinion, I think because it allows you to actually use that skill to deal a little bit more chip damage, to break and whatever, and easier to set up, you don't have to like worry too hard about things. I think it definitely raises her up a notch to tier 9. Um, yeah, one of the best damage dealers out there because she just does too many things in general. Waki 5, we already went over her kit, so I'm not going to go too hard in depth. Uh, but essentially, the enhance will actually affect her EX skill, which is 0 SP cost. She provides herself with 1 stack of large hit count. She can always provide herself with small hit count. She can get someone else to provide herself with small hit count. Doesn't matter. There's multiple ways around it. Um, and she has overdrive gauge if everyone is a Waki minion, which you can do either with her plus another Waki minion and then giving it 4 times or whatever, or you have Bungo and her dance it off turn 1 and turn 2 you're already at OD2. So due to the flexibility of that, yeah, she's incredibly strong for AoE, like really strong. Um, and one of the best AoE damage dealers and stuff. Sadly, we don't have a Dark Admiral yet, but once we do, I think she's going to be insane. Actually, the only off element you'll have is Bungo, and then you just dance and then OP. Like I'm actually pretty scared about that. Like, can you imagine that, Red? Like
That's gonna be a
you,
good time.
yeah, it's gonna be insane. Cause like Waki dances off, and then she has an extra turn right after she dances. So she's already increasing the amount of what's it called again? What's called the thing for before the gauge pops off. So yeah, Inori 2 is still really good. 30% crit damage raises her up 1 tier. Is she still using JP? I have a lot of people asking that. The answer is yes. People still use her. It's just a lot harder to use her than to use Bungo and Waki together because Bungo and Waki together is guaranteed 2 turns. Inori can do 2 turns if there are 2 targets. If there aren't 2 targets, I'm unsure. Can they? Can she?
Not sure about the timing.
I don't think so. It might be possible with Waki. It might be a little hard for that. Um, but yeah, Inori still works. It's just you're gonna be hit a lot more. It's gonna be a little bit more dicey than you want it to be. What really helps is Inori doesn't need to use her SP to break, and she can use her SP to just get charged. But Yanagi also provides her charge, so she really effectively doesn't have to do anything until it's her turn to shine. Um, which is a very nice boost and bonus, but yeah, just something to think about. Yuina is still top of the notch, as we already showed you and told you about, like her LB3 passives. I think she's definitely like with Inori in terms of strength of ice. If you actually have seen um, recent AOE score attack on JP, which had ice and thunder be like the main stuff, Yuina was top of the thing there. Really good. Um, the rest of them, it's just doesn't matter. I think Nanami's like just dead. Um, I think we can say that she does raise herself up one because she can use her EX more and stuff like that. And at 10, she enhanced herself a tiny bit more. Not a big deal. Um, Waki can doesn't have to use her Lb3 passive anymore to break the enemy. So whip de do, very good stuff. So this, oh, it's just plus 5 SP at Battlestar. Oh, it's not this one. It doesn't matter. Plus 5 SP is always good since she has a lot of SP to give. So I would put her up half a step, but honestly, like if you're running Waki, it feels bad when you compare her with Tezuka. That is for sure. Koju, we already talked about her as well. I think this pumps her up one, especially if it's AoE. So we just bump her up one. SSS. Everyone here basically is bumped up one. But if we'll go over Minori's kit because people probably don't know it. But yeah, Kura's kit's no different from Koju's. They just get SP whenever they kill. Not useful for score attack, but for anything else it is. Therefore, they're getting bumped up one because mostly of that. Sumomo is just getting um, the hit count buff as well, right? Um, so that one we also want to have. Minori here is one of the newer ones, and she is pretty good and pretty mid at the same time, unfortunately. But her Lb3 pass is pretty good. So if she breaks the enemy, it's 25% OD gauge, which is a huge deal. The only problem is I personally have not used her, so I don't know if it's per break or if it's per turn for break or what it is. Um, so I will have to test that later. But essentially, the main deal is that at 10 tokens, this will deplete 50. This will essentially make the cost half as long as she can break. And there's a very high chance she does because her DP percent, I mean, her DP mod is 100% instead of the usual 50, which I think is a big deal. But yeah, don't think there's anything else here. Yep, everything's done. Did I miss anything, Red?
No,
It's like
I think that's
Ximpius.
everything.
Cool. Nothing crazy. I do have some news I do want to present. Due to it being important that this news goes out. Um, I did tell Red part of this, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a very sad thing. But yeah, I will not be doing these streams anymore. Um, yeah, it just will not happen any longer. At least for a whole year. This has a lot to do with IRL for me. I'm just gonna note what's happening because it's not like it's not too private. I'm starting school in May. So I in a month I'm starting school and it's an accelerated program, which means that I have no time and these take like half a day, if not a full day to do. I don't have that luxury anymore. So I will be updating the tier list. There just will not be a stream attached to it any longer until I'm out of school. So until next year, around like May or June, even, I will not be streaming the tier list any longer. I just want to give a heads up on that. I'll probably type that in a message on my board for YouTube as well, so people know. But yeah, it just will no longer happen. I won't have the time and luxury for it, unfortunately. I do love to do these, but I just won't have that time. But I will be updating tier list. Don't worry about not getting that updated, but there's going to be a lot of things in the Tojo files that are not going to be updated. Um, like the Memoria debut list, outside of the bottom part being updated on what JP has, I will probably not update the pull status or descriptions. I mean, I'll not add anything for the descriptions, but the pull status I'll probably be consistently updating, and that's about it. I just don't have the luxury of doing otherwise, and I just want to put it out there. I know um, it's a sad thing, but like I just don't have the means of it. But yeah, since I have to end the stream, since I'll be going in a good amount of minutes, I'm ending the stream here, but if you have any questions, please feel free to leave in the comment section, and I will try to answer to best of my ability. Granted, I am getting ready for school, so it might take some time, if not, not even notice your question. If you really need your question be answered, please reply to your own question. I get a notification, and I'll try my best to get to it. Just please understand, I will be getting very busy very soon. And that's about it.